Hi there, and welcome back to the Happy Moms Project. I am so glad you're here, and I am truly so honored that you choose to continue spending time with me. My goal continues to be the same, to remind you that you matter, that you can be happy, and you can thrive in motherhood and every other area of your life. You deserve to go past survival mode into thriving mode, and we can get there together. Today's episode is one I've been thinking about for a while because it's something that really helped me understand why I see the world the way that I do. I'm really big on data, on asking why. Why do I react to something one way and my husband another? Why does my best friend seem so chill in situations and I might be not so chill in? Why do we all have different ways of approaching the world? Well, remember, our experiences, our traumas, our past, our self-awareness, and our personalities, they all influence how we see the world and how we communicate. They certainly influence how we parent. So it is important to be aware of who we are at the core, why and what things trigger us, and how we can coexist with others who might see things differently than we do, as we literally model the world for the little ones watching. I'm talking about personality types and specifically the A, B, C, and D personality framework and how understanding yours can completely shift the way that you parent, the way that you connect with your kids, the way that you handle your marriage, and even how, really important, how you treat yourself. And I know when you hear personality test, you might be picturing some like random BuzzFeed quiz or one of those career assessment tests that we took in high school. But trust me, this is so much more than just putting yourself in a box. It's about giving yourself permission to understand why you operate the way you do and why motherhood might feel so much harder or different than you imagined. I'm going to go over each of the 4 personality types, how they can show up in motherhood, why your type might be the root of some of your struggles, and how your child and your partner being a different type can be a total game changer. You might be asking yourself already, why does my personality type matter in motherhood? And well, it's because knowing how you're wired gives you the insight to stop judging yourself and to start supporting yourself. The more you know, the more you can do. I always say this. So remember, data, information, they reveal things that are there for us to dive into and to learn from. Think about it this way. Have you ever felt like maybe other moms handle things better than you? Or like no matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to find your rhythm. Or maybe certain things drive you absolutely crazy while your mom friends could care less. That's not random. It's you and it's your personality showing up in real time. And when you understand this, you can finally release some of that guilt that you may be holding on to. Like you're not failing. Maybe you're just wired differently. When you understand your triggers, like why clutter stresses you out, or why you hate chaos, or why you're burnt out from emotional loads, while maybe your other mom friends are not, you're going to understand that it's all connected. You can then communicate better with your kids, with your partner, with your friends, but most importantly, with yourself. You should strive to do everything intentionally, but when you parent more intentionally, you understand your strengths and your blind spots, which help you really show up more grounded. Knowing your personality type and being aware of what this entails is going to help you feel empowered in your motherhood journey. There won't be any more guessing, any more comparing, or trying to fit into someone else's mold. You will be able to show up in a way that is authentic and hopefully relaxed because you will know that you're not broken just because you see things differently or you react differently. You're just different, and that's a great thing. For the purpose of today's episode, we're going to be covering the A, B, C, and D personality framework. And I do want to point out that there's many others out there you can explore later, but even just learning one type can mean such a huge difference in your journey into self-awareness. Okay, let's go over them. And I want you to really reflect on which one feels like you. Take notes. The more you know, the better. And we're going to start with type A, the structured achiever. This is the one that I identify with the most. And type A moms, we're goal-driven, organized, time-conscious, and we love a good routine. We thrive on structure, on progress, and checking things off a list. This is me 1,000%. Before I became a mom, I felt like I could do anything. I ran my business, I juggled projects, I had systems for everything. But postpartum, everything fell apart. Not because I wasn't trying, but because nothing about motherhood is predictable. And for a type A personality, that's major panic mode. I would forget to text back, I would schedule things on the wrong dates. I was a mess. And I've always taken pride in being extremely organized, and not being able to live up to that really affected me and added so much unnecessary stress. But because this is how I am, how I'm wired, there was nothing I could do other than just hold space for those feelings. Postpartum anxiety hit me hard. I felt like I was failing because I couldn't keep it together, but I wasn't really failing. I was just grieving the loss of my control. We had Ryan Landau on the podcast, and he and I had an amazing conversation touching on the subject. If you haven't heard it, go play it because it's packed with amazing info. Like, for example, he said that before becoming a mom, I had many years of keeping it together under my belt. That is what felt natural to me, and it was a part of my identity. It was built on that. If you would have asked me before what was one of my favorite traits about my personality, I would without a doubt have included responsible, structured, organized to the list. I had a black belt in keeping things under control. But after becoming a mom, that all changed. Imagine so many years of identifying as one thing, and then boom, I have a baby, and the next day I'm expected to be okay with not being something I thrived in so much for so long. It wasn't easy. I had to relearn how to be myself in this new season. Less pressure, more flexibility. But I had to dive deep into myself and into my self-awareness to realize that change is constant. And this new season is the most important season I will ever be in. Raising my children, showing up for them, that is now my priority. Everything else can wait. But it was thanks to my self-awareness that I arrived at this conclusion. Because at first, I felt like I was failing at literally everything because I was no longer in control, or I wasn't able to cross things off a to-do list. Self-awareness is also one of the ways I healed my postpartum anxiety, knowing to let go of who and what no longer serves this new me. So if you're a type A parent, please know that it's okay to take a second to breathe. It's okay to realize that you cannot do it all. And it's okay to mourn that old version of you. Don't feel guilty for doing that. That version of you helped you become who you are now. It helped you grow and overcome so much. But again, change is inevitable, and you can still have control in this new season, but with a little more flexibility and a whole lot more purpose. I think those who understand this and really create the self-awareness within themselves to accept change will live a more fulfilled life. Type A's have so many superpowers, like bringing order to chaos, creating rhythm, structure, but they also struggle. And some of those struggles are, you probably guessed them, are letting go, surrendering, and resting without guilt. Then there's the type B moms, the chill creatives. Type B moms are relaxed, emotionally available, they're spontaneous, they're more go with the flow, they're not worried about any schedule or perfection. Their focus is more connection and fun. These are the moms who let their kids run barefoot outside at bedtime, for example. I wish I could be this chill. Type B moms are a vibe, and their houses might sometimes be a little bit messy, but who cares? They're so busy creating fun memories and fun times for everyone around. But type B moms do struggle, and they struggle with consistency. They're not usually into routines because they think they can feel a little restrictive, or deadlines really, and that can feel a little bit frustrating for them because sometimes parenting does call for predictability. Type Bs have great superpowers though. They're present, they're creative, they have such deep emotional connections, but they struggle with discipline, again, with structure and time management. If this is you, learn to recognize your strengths and weaknesses. It can help you avoid added stress in certain situations and have self-awareness when needed. Like if you have to catch a plane, know you will probably be late, so plan accordingly. Then we have type C. They're the thoughtful, the analytical, detail-oriented. They're deep thinkers. They love planning. They love understanding the why behind every decision and doing their research. They probably already know they're a type C and probably have all these notes supporting that. They're the moms who know every ingredient for their baby's lotion, who've read 4 sleep training books, and who are always thinking 3 steps ahead. They're cautious, they're prepared, but they're challenged paralysis by analysis. They can get overwhelmed by too many options or maybe spiral into fear of making the wrong choice. They sometimes feel like they have to seek external validation or reassurance instead of just taking action themselves. But of course, type Cs have superpowers, intentionality, logic, thoughtfulness, but of course, also some struggles, indecisiveness, overthinking, fear of failure. And last but certainly not least is type D. They're the nurturing empaths. They are reserved, emotionally sensitive, deeply nurturing. They crave peace and they avoid conflict. They're great listeners and they're so intuitive in sensing the emotional vibes in their home. These moms are comforting and they're kind. They create calm, cozy spaces. They prioritize emotional safety at all costs. But because they hate conflict, which can often lead to growth, they may struggle to set boundaries or hold them firm if they do have them. They can keep their feelings inside to avoid upsetting others, and that can maybe lead them to emotional burnout, which again, we know that affects everyone in the household. Of course, they have superpowers, their empathy, emotional safety, their gentleness, but they do struggle with assertiveness, with boundaries, with speaking up. I do want to tell you, one personality type is not better than the other. We're all different, and that is what makes us unique. But again, having the self awareness to know yours and to recognize your strengths and your weaknesses can take you from surviving into thriving, not just in motherhood, but in every area of life. Plot twist though. What do you do when your kid is a different type than you? Well, this is where things get very real because a lot of the tension in parenting comes from personality clashes that are not recognized. What happens if you're a type A like me and your child happens to be free spirited? Well, you might feel like you're constantly irritated that they don't follow directions or stick to the plan. And it's not their fault. They're just wired differently than you. Or if you're a type D and your child is loud, expressive, intense, maybe you feel emotionally overwhelmed or unsure how to respond without shutting down. It is so important that you understand your child and that they may have completely different wiring than you. This is crucial in allowing them to express their uniqueness. It's going to help you realize their strengths very early on, and you can encourage them to pursue the things they can actually really thrive in. So drop the expectations that they're going to be just like you. Maybe they won't be, and that's okay. Adjust how you communicate, how you discipline, and how you support them. Give grace to both them and to yourself. This isn't about changing them or changing you. It's about bridging the gap and gathering as much information as possible that can help you show up for them and for yourself in a loving and nurturing way. And by the way, your partner's personality type matters too. Let's not forget that your partner is part of the whole family dynamic as well, whether you're with them or not. And if you're a type A and they're a type B, it might feel like you're constantly picking up the slack or like they're too laid back about things that really matter to you. But they have things that really matter to them too. And maybe they are different from what matters to you. So when you communicate and hold space for each other, that allows for your marriage or your partnership to grow or even your co-parenting. It allows it to thrive, and your kids can grow up seeing happy parents who do their best to be there for each other, even if the love and appreciation is expressed in different ways. When you hold space for your partner, you can both communicate your needs more clearly. You can stop assuming that they're doing it wrong or you're doing it wrong or you just don't get along. And you can appreciate the balance that you bring to each other's lives. Remember, gathering data and information is so important. But just as important is sharing this information with those around you every day. When you're able to see each other for who you truly are and what you can be, you can start building the deepest connection that will feel like a true partnership, centered in mutual love and mutual respect for each other. Your kids are learning from how you two relate to each other just as much as they're learning from how you relate to them. And by the way, I have totally asked myself if maybe my personality type changed after I had Jack. I certainly have become more chill and more go with the flow. But the truth is that I'm still nowhere near a type B. My core personality, my type A-ness, that's probably never gonna change. I'm still me, and you're gonna still be you. But the way you express that personality can absolutely shift. I know it has for me. Hormones, sleep deprivation, trauma, new priority, these all impact your behavior. You might become more patient or more sensitive or more reactive or even more emotionally vulnerable. That is what I have experienced. But I'm not becoming someone else. I am becoming a deeper version of myself. Motherhood stretches you, it doesn't erase you. If you still don't know your type after hearing all of this, there are plenty of online quizzes you can take for free that will help you in finding out. It doesn't matter which one you are, all types can thrive. The important part is, again, having self awareness and putting the information to work after you have it. Remember, you're not a bad mom because certain parts of motherhood feel hard. You're not broken, you're not failing, you're you with a unique personality, a specific emotional rhythm, and a set of strengths and of struggles that deserve to be understood by you, by those around you. Same thing with your kids. Maybe they're not defiant. Maybe they're just express themselves differently than you. When you understand you, when you understand them, when you understand your partner, everything else starts to make sense. You can be more intentional about creating lifelong bonds. If this episode gave you an aha, tag me on Instagram. Send me a DM. Let me know your type. Let's have conversations about this. I love hearing how you guys react to all this info. Until next time, happy mom, happy baby. Thank you for sharing a little bit of your precious time with me today. I know your time is gold, and I'm truly so honored that you chose to spend it here. If this episode spoke to you, don't forget to hit subscribe so we can stay connected. And if you know a parent who needs to hear this, please share it with them because none of us are in this alone. I'll be right here next week with more tips, stories, and reminders that you matter. Until then, taking care of yourself isn't just for you, it's for your kids, for your family, and for your sanity. You're doing an amazing job.